Everybody, it's Michael here from Replica Airguns with another tabletop video review for everybody. Today we're looking at the Crosman MAKO, whatever you want to call it. It is a blowback CO2 BB pistol. And again, this is the tabletop review. Now I have done my field test shooting video for this gun. I'm not going to talk a lot about the performance, so just watch that video where I do a field test. I put 5 rounds through the chronograph to see what the average velocity is, and then I shoot 10 rounds on a paper target to see what kind of accuracy I get from about 30 feet away in a somewhat rested position. Now this gun is available in our Canada online Replica Airgun store if you're interested in buying it. I don't believe we, at least at this time, have it in the US store, but maybe down the road. We do have other Crosman products there. So I'll put a link to our US store for other Crosman products at least. All right, let's get into some of the specifications right away here. This is a blowback, mostly metal with some plastic construction, and I'll talk about that as I go through it when I show you the gun a little bit closer up. It does use 12 gram CO2 cartridges. It shoots 4.5 millimeter steel BBs. It has a 20 round dropout stick magazine. It has a non-rifled barrel. I believe it's approximately 6 inches, just kind of giving you my estimation. I couldn't find actual information on that, but it does have a fairly long barrel. It does weigh 1.71 pounds, which is about 775 grams. The total length is 8.6 inches. The trigger is double action only, and it is claimed to shoot up to 425 FPS. Again, watch my field test shooting video for the real world FPS. Now the Crosman MAKO does have fixed front and rear fiber optic sights with a frame located safety. Again, I'll show you around these components on the gun as I pick it up and show you it nice and close. You're also going to find an underbarrel Picatinny rail for accessories. Now this pistol is made in Taiwan and it does come in a clamshell, which I'll show you in a second here with the manual. And by the way, it is not field strippable. So let's take a look at the clamshell here. Nothing fancy. You know, you gotta cut it open, kind of almost destroy it to get into it. That's just the way these things are, right? So you just have your velocity in meters and FPS on the front. Not a lot of information. On the rear, you're gonna find more of that information, okay? So see if I can see what this says with my aging eyes here. So you do have the 12 gram CO2, right? It's a repeater. All right, you have the, what does that say? I can't even read it, it's so small on my screen. 20 round magazine, 1.71 pounds. All right, I'm gonna look across here. It is 8.56 inches, smoothbore barrel, fiber optic sights, slide, safety, and up to 425 FPS. All right, so that's pretty much what you're gonna see. Some little diagram there to show you kind of where the CO2 goes in, right? Some Crosman accessories you can buy, of course. The manual is one of these fold-out ones that you can never figure out how to put back into its folding configuration. But there you're going to find out, you know, a little parts diagram, like what the parts are, how to load it and use the safety and put the CO2 where the CO2 tab is, aiming, stuff like that. I think that's showing you how to maybe unjam a BB there, how to load the magazine, right? All that great stuff. I'm going to throw that to the side because I don't feel like folding it up right now. All right, so let's pick up the Crosman MAKO and show you around what we have here on this gun. Get up nice and close. So, I mean, it is a nice looking gun, okay? I mean, you notice you've got this, you know, everything's molded right into the slide here. It's not like it's painted on, right? Everything looks nice. Now, this safety back here, it's sort of your Beretta style safety. It is non-functioning. Actual safety is right here. I'll show you that when I move over there. The slide catch release does work. It does lock back on the last shot. This takedown lever, I don't believe really does anything. Again, it's molded into the frame. The slide is metal. The frame is plastic, okay, but it's nice. I mean, the color configuration is nice. It's like a, I would say a dark gray black, so glossy black. So the sights are kind of black. And then you have the black grips, and then you have this metallic slide. You know, it looks good. And then you've got these fiber optic sights. Everything looks pretty good. You've got the black hammer, which is just a pseudo hammer. It just basically goes back and forth. You cannot cock it for single action shooting. The grips look nice. You have the finger notches, right? So nice grip. It is a wide grip. It's a large grip. You're going to need larger hands, and the trigger itself is long. Okay, it's a long trigger pull. It's double action. Now, I don't have any BBs in here. Otherwise, I'm going to be shooting my monitor. I'm going to point it somewhere else just in case, but I know There's no BBs. So you see how it locks back? There's no BBs in it. The blowback action is actually fairly good. It's got a snappy, fairly heavy blowback action. Considering the slide feels kind of cheaper. There's not a really heavy spring in it. It's got that clanky sound, not my favorite, but when you're shooting it, it feels pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, it actually has a snappy blowback feel. You've got this nice Picatinny rail. You got some more kind of stuff there. So you have the serial number, right? You have the, now you notice here when you pull the trigger, the barrel comes out. So the barrel is kind of like your hammer, right? That's why this hammer doesn't really work. The barrel goes back, and I believe when it comes back, it hits the CO2 valve, opens it up, and that's kind of like your, a lot of guns use this, especially non-blowback guns will use this type of a barrel system. Some blowback guns will, but that's what really the, is the kind of hammer, so to speak, that hits the valve and opens it up. So you got some information. Again, it's not painted on, it's right in the slide here, so it's kind of nice. There's your safety, okay? Again, you've got your Crosman branding on this gun. Your trigger is a metal. Your magazine release is metal. Okay, so this is a metal magazine release. You do have a stick magazine, which is metal for the most part, except for the butt plate. Okay, so it is metal, holds 20 rounds. Got the butt plate that covers up the CO2 screw. Okay, so that's the CO2 screw. And you just pop this off to get to your CO2. Tighten it up with the tab there. Pretty normal configuration for that. This isn't tight, but it's not going to come off when you're holding it for sure. You notice you got metal inside this gun all around it. The gun has decent weight. It kind of feels heavier than 1.71 pounds, maybe because it's kind of bulky, but it does have decent weight for sure, okay? So again, these fiber optic sights. Okay, no open ejection port roll. It's got the typical Beretta cutout there, but you can't see through the ejection port at all. Okay, there's that barrel, which is weird because this is actually lower. You notice how it's lower. Just would be neat if it was actually centered, but I don't think it really matters at all. Maybe if they recessed it a bit more, it would be nice so it doesn't come out when you shoot it. It is a long barrel, but I guess that extra length will give a little bit more FPS. All right, at this point, let's go over some pros and cons. The Crosman MAKO is, I would say, on the lower cost side. It's not the cheapest of guns. It's just over $100 here in Canada, about $120-ish, something like that, at least at the time of this video. So yes, there's cheaper guns, less expensive guns, but this gun does have a pretty decent list of features. You're also going to find pretty high FPS considering it is a blowback pistol. Crosman claims 425. I'm not going to tell you exactly what I got, but I got pretty close to that, and it wasn't super warm, so 425 FPS on a brand new CO2 is realistic. Now, even though the sights aren't adjustable, they're easy to see with those fiber optic front and rear beads in them. And the multi-tone color scheme, I think, looks really good, and it does have a pleasing tactical look to it. Now, the CO2 tab is nicely hidden inside the grip under the magazine butt plate. And even though the double action trigger pull is a bit long, it's not overly heavy. You're also going to find Picatinny rails for adding accessories like a tack light or maybe a laser if you want to put that on this gun. And I do like the notched grips. They feel good, but they are going to be for larger hands. This gun does have that large grip, so keep that in mind. You're also going to find a working slide catch release that does lock back after the last shot, so you're not going to waste any CO2 shooting empty rounds. And I was a bit surprised at the blowback action and how snappy and firm it actually was, considering the slide doesn't feel that heavy, kind of feels clanky like I mentioned. All right, a few cons. Number one, that slide feels kind of cheaper and clanky. Wish it had a little heavier spring action, maybe didn't have that clanky sort of weird sound that some of these slides have. Again, that hammer is just for show. It does not do anything. There's no way you can pull it back and shoot in single action only. And again, those grips are kind of large, so if you have smaller hands, this is not going to be the gun for you. All right, the Crosman MAKO is available in our Canada online Replica Airgun store over replicaairguns.ca. We don't have it just yet in the US, but we do have other Crosman products there. So if you're interested in this gun, check out both of the stores. Never know when you're watching this video if we have them or not. We also have other products there: air guns, BB guns, airsoft guns, pellet guns, blank guns, and other accessories. So again, check out those websites, replicaairguns.ca for Canada and replicaairguns.us for the US. Also come on down to our replicaairguns.com website, where I have other articles, posts, reviews for you to check out, usually with additional photos and sometimes more information than in the video. Alright, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Until next time, take care.